Hi everyone, Happy New Year. My name is Amanda McPherson, and for those of you whom I've not had a chance to meet, let me introduce myself. I am a trained therapist and a life coach based in Austin, Texas, although I do help clients all over the country. And I like to say that I specialize in helping people live a no regrets kind of life. The kind of life you're going to look back on your deathbed, not to be morbid, but and sort of say, I gave it my all. I lived full out, took chances. I was authentic to myself, and I feel fulfilled and happy and joyful. I think that you can start living that way today. And my calling and my passion is helping my clients tap into that mindset and that energy and have the follow through and accountability to make that happen for themselves. So one of my goals for 2018 is to have more connection, and that's in a variety of ways that I might talk about at a different time. But one of the goals I have is to connect more through things like Facebook and videos and blogs and newsletters, to just share my message free of charge, hopefully just some helpful inspiration and tidbits that will be helpful to you and enlightening to you. And so I want to start with one of the major sort of tenets of what I do with my clients, and that is working with them on what I would call, based on my training through IPEC, my coaching training, we would call them the 4 major energy blocks, or you could call them mindset blocks or attitude blocks if you want, if you don't like the word energy. Those 4 major blocks, my coaching program talks about it that way, and I feel like it's a really sort of concise, simple way to talk about 4 major bugaboos that I see coming up for my clients, and heck, even myself still sometimes, that keep me from getting what I really want and getting the happiness and the fulfillment that I want out of my life. So what we talk about in my coaching program are called the GAIL, and that's GAIL, and it's an acronym. And I'm going to go through those 4 energy blocks one at a time and talk about how they might be showing up in your life and keeping you playing small. So I'm going to start from the backwards, back end. I'm going to start with L. And L stands for limiting belief. And gosh, I'm starting with probably the biggest, most icky, powerful one that we struggle with. Limiting beliefs are something that we believe to be true about ourselves, about the world around us, about others, that are limiting us. These beliefs are limiting us in some way. And we've usually picked up these limiting beliefs through some external source, maybe where we grew up, our family, schooling, just sort of general societal norms. I still, through working with my coach, find that I have limiting beliefs that, they're not even conscious, right? They're kind of underneath there, and that's part of why I love working with my coach, is because we're able to unearth them. And let me tell you about a couple limiting beliefs that showed up for me, because I feel like the best way that I know how to teach is to describe my journey and what I went through, or I'm still going through, toward my growth. So growing up, my father, he meant well, but I got some beliefs from him. I remember, I literally can remember the words coming out of his mouth saying, Amanda, people don't like people who rock the boat. And while I understand what he was saying, right, he was sort of teaching me that, agreeableness is always the preferred way. But people don't like people who rock the boat. I took that on. It was such a black and white that no rocking the boat ever should happen. I should never rock the boat. I should never, what did that lead to? It led to me not necessarily speaking up in meetings, or not speaking up in friendships or relationships, or situations where I was really feeling compromised, and I didn't want to rock the boat. And I'm realizing that, sometimes the boat needs to be rocked. And, I have discretion over that, and it's up to me to realize, when it needs to be rocked and when I need to just go with the flow. But I took on that belief, and boy, can I see how in my 20s and 30s, I really, really, really held on to that limiting belief about rocking the boat and what people might think of me if I did that. Another limiting belief I took on by, sort of watching my family dynamic and just sort of those around me, was that you don't get to work and make money. It's something you love. Those are sort of two different things. That you go off and make a lot of money, or you do what you love. But the two, it's expecting a whole lot, might even be, delusional to think you could have both. And just look at that. That's just simply not true, right? I mean, I know people who are making a lot of money doing what they love. You probably do too. So there we know, we have some evidence that that is not true. That is a limiting belief. But what would happen, or what did happen, when I was walking through life with that belief? Well, I didn't think the two could coexist, so I never really allowed myself to think about how to create a situation where I would have both, because that limiting belief was sort of, underneath there, sabotaging my efforts. So I wonder what limiting beliefs may be there for you. I see it a lot when it comes to career change. Oh, I'm too old to try a new career. It's too late to change. Or, only thin people are happy. I can't be happy looking this way. Or all men are jerks, or all women are difficult. Well, just think about, if you're walking around with that limiting belief, how that could be affecting how you show up, how on that date, on that job interview, at work, on your health goals. There's no way to get where you want to be if you are being led by that underlying limiting belief. I mean, I see it. I see it with myself. I see it with my clients. It's so much of what is holding us back are these beliefs that we've taken on from these other sources, and we just haven't questioned in quite some time. So just taking that belief and looking at it and saying, is this really true? I mean, is this really true? Usually it's not. But there's good news. We can change our beliefs. I bet you've changed your belief about Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy, and even some more significant things. You may have changed your beliefs. But these limiting beliefs, they're usually rooted in some painful past experience, which is why we tend to hold on to them, because they're sort of serving as a protector and telling us to, play small, don't take risks, stay in that limiting belief bubble, and then maybe we won't get hurt. But if you're living with limiting beliefs, I don't have to tell you, it's a slow, painful burn, a yucky, just sort of unease and anxiety, or sort of sadness and depression about life not being what you want it to be. And in coaching, a big part of what we do is we examine those limiting beliefs, and we bring them to life if maybe you're in doubt that you have any. And we start to examine them, we start to challenge them, and then we replace the limiting belief with a belief that you want to have, that's authentic to you, that speaks to your truth. You get to decide what you believe about life, about yourself, about the world, about your place in it. wow, it's really exciting when you think about it, how you can change this belief system and how much that will impact your life. So that is number one energy block. That is L, limiting belief. Something you believe about yourself or the world that you just believe to be true. And the way to work on those is maybe to look at each area of your life, relationships, career, health, money, and think about, and maybe just write down, what are some limiting beliefs that you have around, like, let's say money or work or love for you. I bet you there are some lurking. And I know if they're there, you've got to release them to get to where you want to be. So I hope that's helpful. I will be back soon, probably the next day or two, with the next big energy block. And we're working backwards. So that would be I, and that would be interpretations. And we're going to talk about how when we make an interpretation of an event or a situation and we don't challenge it, we believe our interpretation is the interpretation, how it can kind of get us into some trouble, cause us some pain and anxiety and agony, and we don't need any of that business in 2018, right? So we're going to talk about interpretations next time. Look me up at Life Coach Amanda if I can be of help to you. I have a place you can sign up for my newsletter if that's of interest, and I appreciate you tuning in. All right, let's kick 2018, and then you know what? It's your year.